Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now I want to tell you a story about me and Westfield. And this story dates back to 1990, when I was on my year in industry between A-levels and university. I was working at British Aerospace Dynamics in Stevenage. And a work colleague of mine had a friend who had just finished building a Westfield 7. And this friend of mine took me up the road in this Westfield, and it redefined my understanding of what a motor car could be. And from that moment on, I was obsessed with Westfields. I got photographs of them and hung them on my wall in my student digs. Me and a mate might well have actually gone to the local village that was called Westfield and liberated the name sign of the village, and that hung on my student digs wall. That friend of mine actually got obsessed too and ended up building a Westfield. I can remember him taking me round Brands Hatch in it, and I'm pretty sure he still has that car to this day. I fell in love with sevens. I ended up buying a Caterham 7 rather than a Westfield 7, but I've always loved them. Spring forward quite a few years, when I was filming Vintage Voltage in 2019, one of the cars we did in series 1 of Vintage Voltage was a Chesil Speedster. And at that time, Chesil had just been acquired by Westfield. And when we delivered the car to the owner at the end of the show, I drove the Chesil Speedster up to Westfield. Shortly after that, Westfield were no more. They went into administration, they had issues, and I thought that was the end of Westfield, until a turn of fate. Another friend of mine, who interestingly I met when we were filming Vintage Voltage, we were at a charity dinner last year, and I said, "Oh, what are you doing now, Ed?" He went, "Well, I'm actually working with Westfield." And I'm like, "Sorry, Westfield the cars? I thought they'd gone bust." He went, "No, they're back. You'll have to come and drive the new car when it's ready." Well, guess what? I'm here, the new car is ready, and we're about to take a drive. Let's have a chat with Ed, find out where we are with Westfield for both the 7 and also the Chesil Speedster, and let's take their latest car out for a drive. Now, since I was last at Westfield, they've actually relocated from the Midlands a bit more down south, and now based not that far from Bicester Heritage. But I've come here to drive this, their latest 7, the Se.NA R-T. I'll explain all of that a bit later, but I thought the best person to talk us around this car is my mate Ed. Now then, YouTube, meet Ed.
Hello.
Hello. It's so good to see you, mate. So Ed and I go back. The small world scenario. So when we were filming Vintage Voltage, we went to Frontline Developments.
We did.
You'd done some suspension bits for the MG we were converting.
Little midget.
And I walked into the office and looked at him and went, "Oh my God." Because we knew each other from a mutual friend of ours, Andrew. We were at the 8 Rocks Ball with Lawrence Delalio the year before. And then I went back to Frontline and drove your MG Abington edition. There is a video on the channel of that one. I'll put a link up here. And that's how we got to know each other. Yeah. And then we were at another charity dinner. We do lots of charity dinners together. Last year, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he went, "Oh, I'm working with Westfield." I went, "But Westfield have gone bust." He went, "No, they haven't."
Not anymore.
So tell us about, firstly, Westfield Chesil, and then let's talk about the car.
So Westfield Chesil did sadly go into administration in 2021.
Yep.
We bought out in 2022, relocated to Bicester, so we're much more central in the country.
Yep.
And we have, for the last 2 and a bit years, been redeveloping 2 new cars. This is the first one that's being launched. The next one will follow later on this year. And we've just spent a long time in the detail, trying to make it look very similar, as a 7-esque vehicle always does.
I was going to say, from the outside, it's a Westfield 7,
Yeah,
but everything else underneath is like new
underneath
car.
completely. Yeah.
Can we cover off the name first? So, if you know your Westfield, so for a long time, Westfield had SEI as the kind of one of the
Or SE, then the I denoted the independent back end.
That's right. And then they did an SEI GHT, or the SATE, that had the big Rover V8
Rover
in the
V8.
front. And this is an SE, so that's that bit.
That
NA,
normally aspirated.
please tell me that's normally aspirated.
Normally aspirated.
Amazing, all right.
So we've gone away. Westfield went down a road of engine supply chain of everything most recent in the last, say, 10 years has been going down emissions routes.
Yeah.
So everything becomes forced induction, whether it be turbocharged or supercharged, less common, but turbocharged because they're cheaper and in some ways more efficient. But in our eyes, they don't suit a vehicle of this sort with a turbocharged engine, in just the power delivery and how they come in. So we are SE normally aspirated.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time for the last probably 16 months working with an amazing company called ProDev Engineering, developing a new 2-litre twin cam engine for this.
So that's it. So engine-wise first, so that's a Westfield developed engine.
Correct.
Not just an off-the-shelf from somebody else.
There's no one that builds an engine that you can buy off the shelf that is normally aspirated, unless you want to, trying to think who, Suzuki do one in the Jimny.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm trying to think of anyone else who actually makes now a current production engine that's going to have a life cycle of at least 6 years that is normally aspirated.
Wow, okay. We've then got the last bit of the name, R/T.
Correct.
So that's the middle one of three options.
Three
for
options. So we tried to keep it very simple because
Yeah.
I like simple. We do a road track, which is this one, or a track.
I like that very much.
So,
Okay, so engine then. So you've developed it. Engine power output.
so
Have you got options, or is it just one?
well, the model denotes a power derivative as well as a chassis platform derivative. So the R is 185 horsepower.
Okay.
The RT is 210 horsepower.
That'll do nicely.
And the T is 255 horsepower at 8,600 RPM.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. I'm going to come back and drive one of them when you've got one of them ready. So, okay, engine-wise, brilliant. How about the underpinnings of this? We've said it kind of looks like a Westfield 7. And I guess for those of watching, I mean, I've always loved the 7 format. It started off Colin Chapman back in the day with his Lotus 7.
Yep.
And you've got Caterham that kind of are the modern-day iteration of Lotus 7.
Yep.
You've got Westfield. There's loads of other people. Dax do one, and Robin Hoods. I don't even know whether they're still around.
I think,
But I've always, for me, there's Caterham and Westfield are the two, and they look to the uninitiated very similar from the outside, but they are always have looked different. If you
there's
look
always
closely.
little tweaks between them, but in a silhouette format, they're all following that same beautiful shape that everyone likes.
Bicycle wings at the front, engine at the front, rear wheel drive.
Diff at the rear, gearbox in the centre.
Yeah.
2 people sat on the rear axle, effectively.
Amazing. So how about the chassis itself? So this is now a completely new chassis, or evolved from the old one? Or?
I'd love to say completely new in terms of the external architecture. So our body pickup points, they're all the same because we need those parameters denoted to have the same shape and the same style.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything apart from that has changed. So our steering geometry, our front suspension, our rear suspension, our torsional rigidity, our packaging to allow us to move the engine slightly further back to get perfect weight distribution.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything along those lines, bar the external pickup points, is all new.
Can we talk dampers and brakes? So
starting on the outside, we're running a 265mm ventilated disc with 4-pot billet aluminium calipers. So they're literally CNC machined from billet.
Wow.
So super strong, but incredibly light. Dampers, we worked with a very local company to us, Nitron. So the big thing we tried to do is just bring everything back as British supplied, manufactured.
Love that.
So dampers are made in Whitney. Our calipers are made just outside Blackwall in London. That's front and rear calipers. Springs are made in Witney, just in Oxfordshire, so for a 5-6 minute or 6 mile rather drive.
I love that. I love the whole bring it back and make it local. I guess then you can work with the suppliers. You can kind of, especially if you want to develop those components and all of that kind of stuff.
Because if you're trying to develop a product and you're trying to refine it down to that last 5%, if you're working with a manufacturer that might be based in China because it's cheaper, the development time is exponented 20-fold, because you're just backwards and forwards. You've got a transportation reduction factor in terms of timing. You've always got an interpretation factor that you might be misunderstood. Whereas here, we get in the car, we drive it up there, we go out, we test.
Wow, that's
we say we need to increase.
That would be a good idea. I don't know, maybe like what we used to do back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
So I know, I'll go around and have a chat with the engineer that actually designed this.
That designed it and built it. So again, all the dampers are all aluminium bodied. We're trying to save weight wherever we can, but we're not compromising in terms of the actual quality, but specifically the reliability and the workability of it by making it 1% lighter.
While we're talking about weight, so we've got just over a couple of hundred horsepower.
Yep.
Curb weight?
594 wet.
594 wet?
Wet, with a full tank of fuel.
In the days of cars that are like 2.5 tons. Yeah. I had the little Alpine A110.
Alpine, it's a great car.
Over the summer. Yeah. And I raved about that. And that was like 1,150 kilos or something. So unless you've driven a car that is sub 600 kilos, it's totally changes the whole driving experience for me. Change of direction, acceleration, everything. So 200 horsepower, sub 600 kilos, that's perfect.
I think this is the absolute sweet spot for a road car.
Yeah.
It's perfect. You never have a point where you think, oh, I need loads more power.
Yeah.
But you've just got it's so agile.
Yeah.
I mean, there was even a big debate we all went through on, do we increase the weight of the rotors by going to vented discs? Because the reality is, on the road, you probably don't need to be reducing that much heat in terms of venting them. So there was a up and down, do we, don't we? So what we did is we decided to go for an aluminium bell and then a steel rotor. So if you have a look, they're a twin compact unit, rather than just one big lump of steel. We've actually got them down to virtually the same weight as a solid steel disc by going with aluminium bells.
Cabin.
Yeah.
So, first off, I love the spec. I know you're responsible for the spec. It's not quite enough to be in the Crayon crew. It's a little bit darker than Crayon, but it's beautiful, and I love this central stripe. I love the seats. So you're saying they're specifically made for you by Tillet?
So Tillet, love Tillet, amazing company.
Mate, any decent race car.
Super family company, and they were amazingly helpful. We wanted one of their seats, they didn't fit in terms of physically packaging the seats. I was really specific that we didn't want a restrictive seat that then marked you down as you can only drive this car if you have a waist size of X.
Have you got different, is it just one standard width?
It's one standard width, but you'll probably see later.
It looks
quite
roomy,
wide on the bottom.
Yeah.
So, but then still hugging on the sides. So Tillet were amazing. They said, well, we can do that.
Yeah. So what I love about you being so instrumental in the design of this car is you and I are very similar shape. We're tall, we've got long legs. You've got massive feet though. You were saying...
Size 13.
Yeah, and you can drive... Now normally when you drive one of these, I'm in my clown shoes today. My racing driver shoes, because that's what you kind of need. And so you look at from the back and the way the packaging done for the driver and passenger, really interesting.
We just made it bigger.
Yeah.
Because we all get a little bit bigger. You don't necessarily want to be wearing racing shoes all day long. No. So we've managed to redesign the chassis to give us almost 2 inches of extra room in the footwell. Wow. So we've mounted the pedal box further forward, and we've increased the aperture of the actual enclosure to give us more space.
Because I love a Caterham, a narrow body Caterham, because they do their wide bodied one. And for me, a narrow body Caterham, I can just fit in them. And I had that press car earlier this year. I did have bruises on my hips after a week with that car. This looks a lot more spacious, so I'm looking very much forward to driving it. Let's get now the back end on the rear axle. It's got a limited slip diff, I guess.
Limited slip diff.
Yeah.
Standard on the RT and the T. Aluminium diff housing. Big thing is we're fully independent on the back end.
Right.
So fixed diff, independent, unequal length wishbones. Again with, it's actually a single pot rear caliper, so it's a floating rear caliper on the rear with an electric handbrake. So we don't have to wrestle for
got no bruises
the space
coming
and
on my
no
elbow.
bruises in the cockpit. We have a boot.
Sorry? A boot?
Which means you can take at least 3 toothbrushes on a road trip. I mean, it's not huge, but you can get a couple of soft bags in there for a weekend.
Still more storage than an SF90.
It is, yes.
Now, weather kit. You're saying this car as spec doesn't have a weather kit, but you do a weather kit.
Yeah, we do a weather kit. This particular one hasn't got it.
Luckily, it's dry today.
It's dry and not raining. But the doors are detachable, so they take about 4 seconds from being stood here to the doors being off. You literally press a button, press that, and that comes off. They fold up. Your weather kit comes off, rolls up, and it comes effectively, it clips in between the seats and the roll bar.
Yeah.
So it's not using the boot space.
Yeah.
And it's probably 10 seconds to take it off, and probably 30 seconds to 40 seconds to put it on. So
sounds quicker than my Spider.
It might be, yeah.
Mate, it looks mega.
Thank you. We're really pleased with it.
The next thing I need to do is take it for a drive. But while we're chatting, the other 2 cars, because it is Westfield Chessel.
Correct.
Not Chessel Westfield, or is it Westfield?
Westfield Chessel.
It's Westfield Chessel, even though the sign's the other way around, but just saying.
Yeah.
So you've got the Chessel Speedster, which is I mean, they are such a good, would you call it a replica, or is it?
Yeah, I'd say replica.
Yeah, they're so good. You park an original Porsche next to it, they're very difficult to spot from a distance.
Yeah.
So you do petrol and electric ones of those?
Petrol and electric.
And then the other car you've got is the little Ansted Special.
The Tipo 184. Yeah. So those
is a cool thing.
It is a hell of a thing to go to the pub in on a Sunday afternoon. And that's the one that you get probably more looks than anything else, because you're driving a 1930s Grand Prix car on the road, and they're fully road legal. They have to go through the same safety testing and everything else as these. Yeah. But they're enormous.
That's got a few MX-5 bits in it as well, I think.
That is, so same differential and gearbox, funnily enough.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say, so this has got MX-5 gearbox and diff.
MX-5 NC.
Yeah.
So they're great, but they're huge. Yeah. They're 17 feet long.
Wow.
So you're sat right on the back axle. So driving them you think an E-Type's tricksy to pull out, but they're just such an event to drive.
Wicked.
And then the last one we do is the Westfield 11, where Westfield started.
Oh, of course you do. Yeah.
That was the first car it was ever built by Westfield in '82.
In fact, your one is in there.
It's in there
on a ramp, getting some love.
Magic.
Yeah, I did drive one of those. Well, no, I was a passenger in one at an event a few years ago now. Last thing, just in terms of a lot of people might look at this and say it's a kit car, but now you generally see that they're
so these are we don't offer them in home assembly. Kit form.
Home assembly. I thought you were going to say Homer Simpson for a minute. So they're factory built.
Factory built. So we spend time with clients. We spec everything from colours to materials. This one's got leather, but we do tartans. We do normal vinyls, whatever you want, effectively. So they're all trimmed by hand. Again in the UK. Our trimmer James, an amazing guy, as you'll hopefully appreciate on these.
Yeah,
it's just that sort of next level of detail.
So before you let me go for a spin, how many of my
drive?
Drive. Yes, you've told me to try and beat the 0 to 60 time. So, how many of my English pounds would I need to give you to take this away today?
So, the 3 model ranges, they obviously go up in price. The RT, from memory, you've asked me a question now that I'm not 100% sure on.
Well,
I think they're 52,000, including VAT, starting from.
Okay.
And there's an options list, but it's not massive.
Yeah. Options is like a roof.
That is actually an option. Yeah.
Do you do an aero screen, or is it just?
No, we do an aero screen. So there's a carbon fibre aero screen.
Yeah.
That's an option. You can upgrade things like the diffusers and the front mudguards to carbon.
Yeah. While we're at it, can you tell us about the exhaust? Because the exhaust covering you were talking about that is cool.
So the exhaust is It's called Zerkotech.
Right.
It's an amazing company. I think they're amazing. Based in Abingdon.
Yeah.
It's the two scientists that designed the lining of the Diamond's light source project, where they're trying to recreate the sun and fire an atom around a 1 kilometre donut. And they had to design this coating to stop it melting, because apparently it gets quite hot.
Yeah.
In a
if
nuclear
they're trying
reactor.
to design the sun.
Yeah. So once they designed it and it always worked and signed off, they were effectively made redundant because they had nothing to do. So they were sold the technology for £1 and started up this amazing company called Zerkotech. Two complete petrol head scientists, and now they coat exhaust pipes, and they did their OEM in certain brands in Italy with a big bull on the front.
Oh.
I can't remember their name, but
No, I can't either.
But yeah, amazing. So
I mean, it looks mega, but I just thought it was
looks
like
cool,
painted
but
black. I didn't realise it was...
touch it.
Yeah.
When it's running, and
That is
it doesn't
one of the
leave your
things with
skin
the
on
7
it.
is when the exhaust's on that side, because I remember it always used to depend on what engine you had. Because if you had a K series engine, I think they were always on this side, so it was the passenger that burnt their legs.
And then a Sigma was on the right, and then the V8 was on both sides, so you're both getting burned.
I love that.
Otherwise, you put a big cover on it, and they look less attractive.
No, it looks very, very cool.
We're really pleased with those.
Well, mate, I can't wait to see how it drives.
Well, you go and have a drive, and you'll see all the improvements we've made.
So good to see you, buddy.
And you.
Okay. There's something about getting in a 7. It's an anticipation thing, but I'll tell you straight away, because obviously I've got in here to set my belts and to set cameras. There is more room in this than any Caterham I've ever sat in. Even a wide body Caterham, it's actually pretty roomy in here and quite comfortable. Click that, that's that in. Oh, leave me belts. The gearbox just has a delicious throw to it. It's got an electronic handbrake, which is cool because that means you don't have to worry about banging your elbow. Let's get my feet right on the pedals. Now, what I would say straight away is that the amount of space I've got my seat all the way back. When I got in it, I had enough space, and then Ed said, actually, you've got another inch behind you if you want. So I pushed my seat all the way back. There's loads of space around the pedal box. And then the most important thing for me, compared to the time I've spent in a Caterham, is I've got space around the steering wheel, and this steering wheel is way bigger than you'd find in a Caterham. It's a really nice size, and straight away I can just feel this car's gonna be a shed load of fun. Oh dear. Although I started this film by saying that I had this love affair with Westfield, and I think for me that not only got me into the form factor of the 7, but to my love of drivers-oriented performance cars. I've never actually driven a Westfield. This is my first time in one. And what a beautiful day I've chosen to do that. Quality, it's firm, but actually sometimes when you drive a really lightweight car you can feel them kind of skipping around a little bit too much. I mean, for sure I'm feeling every stone and imperfection in the road I reckon if I drove over the white lines in the middle of the road, I'd probably feel the car bumping up and down. Love the pops and bangs on overrun. There we go. This gearbox is just delicious. Spacing of the pedals, I can just start to get my head around heel and towing. The brake pedal's quite firm, so there's not a great deal of travel in it. But it's nicely spaced with the throttle to give you that ability just to blip if you need to. I know I'm not saying a great deal at the moment. It's just because my body's been overtaken with joy. And that level of joy goes up when you see a National 60. The noise! Oh my God, what a thing. It just feels so competent on the road. Yeah, it's kind of moving around a little bit. I've got a huge amount of confidence under throttle though. A lot of confidence under throttle. What a thing. Oh yeah. I can honestly say whether you can hear me or not is another thing. A car like this, on a road like this, on a day like this, it doesn't get any better. Woo! Now, time for some serious car journalism. This gearbox is delicious. It's making me change gear when I don't really need to. Oh. What a thing, man. My first drive in a Westfield. I've only ever been a passenger in one. That redefined my love of cars. And when I heard that Westfield had gone into administration, I was really sad. Because they made such great cars. I think they were always sometimes seen as the poor cousin of the Caterham. But this just feels, it's a little bit more modern. It's more, certainly more comfortable. I could live with this car. I could certainly go on a longer journey. Oh my days with this car. It's just wonderful! Oh, seriously? Don't know what else to say really. This thing's just magnificent. I should probably just go a bit slower. And let's kind of give you my thoughts so far. First up, I think this gearbox, it's a 5-speed unit out of a Mazda MX-5, and it is such a short throw, but it is so positive and direct. It's a wonderful thing. The pedals, there's so much space in that pedal box. You don't feel as cramped. Sometimes when you drive a Caterham, you feel like you're going to push the wrong pedal because there's that little room in the pedal box. And actually with this, you don't feel like that at all. And then the throttle response is so nice, naturally aspirated, there's no lag. You just get this wonderful, sonorous noise out of the exhaust that's literally just by my hips. It's wicked. Steering feel, really sharp, but what I like about it is just doing that, I can feel just a little bit of dive at the front. The front's soft enough so that when you turn in, you don't feel like you're on this kind of rock hard skateboard. You've got a little bit of weight transfer onto the outside wheel, and that just gives you that grip and that confidence into the corner. And the thing I like about this power and weight combination is it doesn't feel like I'm going to overwhelm the back unless I really try hard. And I like that because, you know, for some, I think maybe the next power up, the race power pack, so 250 odd brake would probably be enough. But I've always been one to think that 2 to 210 horsepower in a car of this weight is spot on, it's perfect. Now then, this car has an inbuilt 0 to 60 timer. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1. 4.6 seconds. It's always super tricky in a rear wheel drive car, it's so lightweight to get the power down. Let's have another go. 4.6 again. Way too much wheel spin that time. Yeah, let's stick with 4.6. If you want bang for buck for a Sunday fun day stroke track day car, what I love about this RT spec is it kind of does just that. It's a brilliant little road car on a beautiful sunny day like today. But on track, I can imagine it'd have an absolute riot. If you were doing lots of track day driving, you'd probably want the R spec with a 250 odd horsepower. But I've got to say, what the guys at Westfield have done with this engine is, it's brilliant. It's so responsive, it sounds incredible. The gearbox is just mega. It's a brilliant package. All hail to Westfield. I was gutted when I saw that they'd gone into administration. But it's great that the guys have risen that phoenix from the ashes and are now back making brilliant sports cars. I think the next thing I have to do is come back and drive the Chesil Speedster. Then I definitely need to come back and drive the Tipo, because that just looks mega. And maybe when Ed's Westfield 11 is finished, I'll come back and drive that as well. Please put in the comments what your thoughts are of this latest generation of Westfield. I think it is wonderful. It's so well thought through. I love the fact that they're using British local companies to supply the parts. Ed was saying the biggest challenge they've got with making these, and it affects the price point so much, is just the cost of raw materials in the world we live in. It's just so expensive. It has this impact on the price point, but they're trying to do things locally. They're trying to do things with British companies, and I love that, and they should be applauded for it. But this thing, let's just do one final acceleration. Are you ready? Oh God. guys, if you enjoyed that as much as I did, which I doubt very much, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. But that car's just turned off and I've got an empty road in front of me. Woohoo!